Hello everyone. I am very happy to welcome you all to Dr. JJ's Virtual Academy of Commerce. In this video, I am going to take you through an exercise from the chapter Ratio Analysis. This is yet another interesting problem and very important problem from the examination point of view as well. Let us get into the problem. From the following information, prepare a balance sheet with as many details as possible. GP ratio 25%. Debtors velocity 3 months, creditors velocity 2 months, stock velocity 8 times. When stock velocity is given in terms of times, it is nothing but stock turnover ratio. Only if it is given in months, it is pure stock velocity. You have to understand this particular aspect. Capital turnover ratio 2.5 times, but it should be done on the basis of sales, not cost of goods sold in this problem. Fixed assets turnover ratio 8 times. Obviously, the formula would be cost of goods sold divided by fixed assets. That's a normal formula and that is followed here. Gross profit 80,000 rupees. There was no long-term loan or bank overdraft in this problem. Reserves and surplus is amounted 28,000 rupees. Liquid assets is amounted 1,07,333 rupees. And the other information given here is closing stock was 2,000 rupees more than the opening stock. Followed by, we are informed about the amount of bills receivable as 5,000, amount of bills payable as 2,000 rupees. So from these accounting information, we are asked to prepare balance sheet of this business enterprise with as much details as possible. Now let us, as usual, first connect the gross profit ratio with the amount of gross profit given in the problem. What is gross profit ratio? GP divided by sales into 100. Gross profit divided by sales into 100. We know gross profit is amounted 80,000 rupees. So with the support of the GP amount 80,000, which stands for 25% of sales, we can very well calculate the amount of sales which stands for 100%. That's what we are going to do in the beginning of the solution. Gross profit ratio is 25%. If gross profit 25% is equal to 80,000, sales 100% is equal to 80,000 divided by 25 into 100, it gives us 3,20,000 rupees. That's the amount of sales for this business. Now we know sales and the gross profit. Obviously we can very well calculate cost of goods sold with these two details. Cost of goods sold is equal to sales minus gross profit. 3,20,000 minus 80,000, it gives us 2,40,000 rupees of cost of goods sold, which is required for stock turnover ratio and other ratios. Now let us get into the details of the next ratio, which is nothing but stock velocity or stock turnover ratio. What is the formula? Cost of goods sold divided by average stock is a formula of stock turnover ratio when it is given in terms of times. What is the answer given here? 8 times. Therefore, using cross multiplication, average stock is equal to 2,40,000 rupees of cost of goods sold divided by number 8, which is the stock turnover ratio in times. The answer is what? 30,000 rupees. That is what the value of average stock. Before we go to calculate the value of closing stock and opening stock, let us look at the information in connection with that given in the problem. It is stated very clearly that closing stock was 2,000 rupees more than the opening stock. For your understanding, suppose if they say closing stock and opening stock are equal, it's very simple in that situation. Average stock is the value of closing stock and it is the same of opening stock. So there will not be any difference between closing and opening. We can assume the amount of average stock as the value of closing stock and as the value of opening stock as well. If that is given in the problem, you can go in that way. But here, it is stated clearly that the closing stock is 2,000 rupees more than opening stock. Then let's go for a formula to calculate the value of closing stock. Closing stock is equal to average stock plus 50% of the difference between closing and opening. Why you add the 50% difference? Yes, closing stock is calculated here and it is stated that closing stock is 2,000 rupees more than the opening stock. That is why when we calculate the value of closing stock, the 50% difference between the two stock is added. So 30,000 rupees plus 1,000, how it is 1,000? 2,000 into 50%, it gives you 1,000 rupees. Therefore, what is the value of closing stock? 31,000 rupees. Now let's move to calculate the value of opening stock. Average stock minus 50% of the difference between closing and opening stock. So 30,000 minus 1,000, it gives us 29,000 rupees. That's the value of opening stock. Now the next ratio we have made use here is debtors velocity. What is the formula for debtors velocity if it is given in terms of months? 12 months divided by credit sales into accounts receivable. In the absence of information with regard to cash sales and credit sales in the problem, I suggest you that you assume the total sales as credit sales, and that is what I have done it here also. Now 3 is equal to, that's what debtors velocity. Debtors velocity is given as 3 months. So 3 is equal to 12 divided by 3,20,000, the credit sales, into accounts receivable. It is supposed to be average accounts receivable, but in the absence of information related to opening accounts receivable, what you can do, you can replace the average accounts receivable with closing accounts receivable. That is what I have done. So accounts receivable is equal to 3 into 3,20,000 divided by 12. I have used cross multiplication and arrive at the value of 80,000 rupees as the value of accounts receivable in total. Now from accounts receivable, if you subtract the value of bills receivable amounted 5,000 given in the problem, you can come to know the balance 75,000 rupees as sundry debtors. Now let us go for using the next ratio, which is nothing but creditors velocity. When creditors velocity is given in months, what is the formula? 12 months divided by credit purchases into average accounts payable. In the absence of information related to opening accounts payable, you can very well write accounts payable. That's what closing accounts payable in that place. Then what about the purchase? We do not know the value of purchase so far. So let us make an attempt to first calculate purchase. Here you have to recall a popular formula which is used in financial accounting perhaps. What is the formula? Cost of goods sold is equal to opening stock plus purchase minus closing stock. This formula has been formulated keeping in view of the trading account. Fine. But are we going to calculate cost of goods sold? No. We have already come to know the value of cost of goods sold. It is amounted 2,40,000. Then what is it we are going to do with this formula? We have to rearrange the formula to calculate the missing figure out of the 4 aspects. What are the 4 aspects? Cost of goods sold, opening stock, purchase and closing stock. Out of the 4, we have already come to know 3 aspects. What is it we have come to know? Cost of goods sold, opening stock and closing stock we have already come to know. We do not know only purchase. So let us rearrange the formula in such a way we could calculate purchase with the help of the formula. That is what I am going to do. Fine. Now purchase is equal to cost of goods sold plus closing stock minus opening stock. This formula could be derived from the original one. Now 2,40,000 cost of goods sold plus closing stock 31,000 minus opening stock 29,000. What is the value of purchase? 2,42,000 rupees is the value of purchase. Since we are not given with any information about the credit purchase and cash purchase in the problem, let us assume the total purchase as credit purchase. And go to apply the value of the purchase in creditors velocity ratio. Now creditors velocity is given as 2 months is equal to 12 months divided by 2,42,000 rupees is the value of purchase into accounts payable. Therefore, accounts payable is equal to 2 into 2,40,000 and the 12 will become the denominator. It gives us the value of 40,333. That is the value of closing accounts payable. From closing accounts payable, if you subtract the value of bills payable, you can come to know the balance of the same as sundry creditors. That's what I have done. So minus bills payable 2,000, the balance 38,333 is the amount of sundry creditors. Now let us go to make use of the other ratio which is given in the problem, which is nothing but fixed assets turnover ratio, 8 times. So fixed assets turnover ratio is equal to cost of goods sold divided by fixed assets is equal to 8 by 1. Now if cost of goods sold with the weight of 8 is equal to 2,40,000, fixed assets with the weight of 1 is equal to 2,40,000 divided by 8 into 1, it gives us 30,000 rupees as a value of fixed assets in the problem. Fine. Let's make use of the remaining one ratio which is given in the problem. What is that? Capital turnover ratio, which should be done on the basis of sales. So sales divided by proprietary fund. What is the formula? Sales divided by proprietary fund is equal to 2.5 divided by 1. If sales with a weight of 2.5 is equal to 3,20,000, proprietary fund with the weight of 1 is equal to 3,20,000 divided by 2.5 into 1 is equal to 1,28,000 rupees is the value of the total proprietary fund in the problem. Obviously, proprietary fund includes two aspects. One is capital and the other one is reserves and surplus. In the absence of information related to preference capital, things like that, you can very well assume that there is only equity capital and reserves and surplus as the elements of proprietary fund or shareholders net worth or shareholders fund in the problem. Fine. Now let us prepare the balance sheet. Capital is 1 lakh. How do I say capital is 1 lakh? Yes. Proprietary fund is 1,28,000. In the 1,28,000, reserves and surplus stands for 28,000 rupees. Look at the problem. Reserves and surplus is amount of 28,000. So from 1,28,000 proprietary fund, if you subtract the value of reserves and surplus 28,000, what is the balance? 1 lakh rupees. That is the value of capital. Fine. Long-term liabilities nil according to the information given in the problem. Then sundry creditors, we already calculated sundry creditors over here. This is sundry debtors, and here you find sundry creditors with a value of 38,333, that is recorded. Bills payable, as per the information given in the problem, it is amounted 2,000 rupees. So we have entered all the aspects of liabilities and capital in this side of balance sheet. It gives us a total of 1,68,333. Now let's move to the asset side. We know fixed assets we have already calculated. It is amounted. How much it is amounted? 30,000 rupees, that is recorded. We calculated closing stock separately. It came to 31,000 rupees. Then sundry debtors we calculated it as 75,000 rupees. That is also recorded. Bills receivable amounted 5,000 given in the problem, and that is also recorded. Now listen to me. We have come to the end of our solution. We were informed that the liquid assets are amounted 1,07,333 available with the business as on this particular date. So 1,07,333 minus debtor and minus bills receivable, which are elements of liquid assets. So from the total value of liquid assets, if you subtract the known liquid assets, which are nothing but debtors and bills receivable, we calculated the value of debtors as 75,000. Then plus 5,000 rupees is the value of bills receivable given in the problem. So we have subtracted these two known values from the total value of liquid assets given in the problem. This is going to be the balance of liquid assets, which could be written as what? Other liquid assets amounted 27,333. If you total these three, you get the total of 1,07,333. That's a value of liquid assets according to the information given in the problem. So this is a very interesting problem. I hope you would have enjoyed my explanation. Thanks for your time to watch this video. I'll meet you in another video. Bye for now, everyone.